And welcome back, everyone, to Box Office Report today on the 7th of September. I gotta get used to saying that instead of August. 7th of September, 2025. And man, did September start actually with a bang for movies. Coming in number one, The Conjuring Last Rites, the alleged last in the Conjuring series. We know there'll be more, maybe just not with these people or this story, or about the Warrens. Making $83 million. That's significant. Hamilton, in re-release, makes about $10 million. Weapons made there $5.3 million. Freaky Friday comes in at number 4 with $3.8 million. And Caught Stealing made $3.2 million for the number 5 slot. $83 million for Conjuring Last Rites. Let me put this in perspective. The highest opening week in international, holy shit, the highest opening weekend for any Conjuring universe film, if I remember correctly, is The Nun 2 is the original Nun, not Nun 2, the original Nun at roughly 50 some odd million, like $52, $56 million. This thing didn't just beat the opening record for a Conjuring universe film. It demolished it. It broke its teeth in. Not only does it make it the highest opening weekend of any of these films, it is the 4th highest opening weekend in the month of September, period. It's also, I think, one of the highest opening weekends for the year. When you actually break it down. Hold on, let me get the worldwide here real quick. Because let me just get these two out of the way. Lilo and Stitch has a higher opening weekend. How to Train Your Dragon did not have a higher opening weekend, if I remember correctly, actually. Let me get that opening weekend real quick here. Oh, come on. Where's the opening? Okay, title summary. Opening weekend here for it. No, it didn't. Oh, no, barely. It barely yet. And so actually, if the actuals come in tomorrow, it could actually have beaten How to Train Your Dragon. But, okay, then Fantastic Four, Superman, yes. But not it beats Mission Impossible. It did not beat Fantastic Four. Captain America, Brave New World, I believe, had an opening weekend in roughly the 80s, if I remember correctly. It was like 81, 82, something like that. 88. So it didn't beat that. It's still got, I want to say it's in like the top 10 or the low teens of opening weekends this year. So it's actually it has a really good start behind. Like everything else, like say behind the number 10 spot, has an opening weekend lower than $83 million. Everything, even Thunderbolts, unfortunately, only had like a mid to high 70s. But it did beat Mission Impossible's opening weekend. I know that. It might actually overtake How to Train Your Dragon's opening weekend when the actuals happen. So it's actually very possible that this could do that. So it's going to be in the top 10 opening weekends of the year thus far. Once we get into November and December, that's not going to be the case. And then, like I said, I didn't even look at the international. $104 million. We forget this is a really loved franchise overseas. Like $187 million. That's worldwide. No joke. Put this in perspective. The film's made on $50 million. It does not have anything more than $50 million at best in the marketing. And that's probably highballing it. We're probably looking at more like 30 to 40. Well, average out at 35. So you're looking at $85 million. The film only had to hit not even 130 to break even. Even if I highballed it to the 150, this film made all of its money back and profit in just one opening weekend. In 3 days, it did that. That's kind of nuts. That's actually really, really nuts. And impressive and great. I mean, good for the movie theater health. It's the next. Warner Brothers is stacking up that record of how many opening weekends over 40 million for a studio. Because right now they're holding the record. I think it was like at 6 or 7, maybe 8. Now it's going to be up to whatever the new number is in 1 year. So I guess the question is, what happened here that made this such a huge success? Well, the Conjuring film series has always done very well. Even the lower films in the series, in terms of like gross or whatever, have still opened on enough, been made on low enough budgets and made enough money to do very well. They've all done like in the 200 to 300s. Even the lowest grossing ones still made their money back. The one that came out during the pandemic, The Devil Made Me Do It. I didn't actually see that one because they did that dumb day and date release. But I think what helped with that day and date release, again, a notable franchise, but B, I don't think anyone knew it was actually on HBO Max at the time. So that certainly helped it. It's also not one of the big tentpole films, which is how it's able to kind of hide in such a way that it's not doesn't suffer from that. But it's a known and established franchise that people really like. We've had a good year for horror this year, but we haven't had a perfect year for horror. We've had great films like Sinners, Weapons, but we've also had some not so great films like The Woman in the Yard, Wolfman. So I think we've been kind of hoping that people are kind of looking for a new good horror movie to come out. And again, existing franchise, allegedly the last in the series. And we're now in September, which is not Halloween month, but it's now in the Halloween season. September is safe to put horror movies out and call it the Halloween season, so it can certainly aid in that. And so you combine all this, a well-known franchise that people like, they do well normally anyway, the alleged last in the franchise, and it's that season for horror. Look, you've got a recipe for insane success. Like the highest grossing one of the series, I want to say, is somewhere in the 300 range. Right now, at this rate, it could easily surpass that, particularly because this film is not going to be having a huge amount of competition coming out for the remainder of the month. I mean, yes, we got The Long Walk coming up next week. I don't see that being a direct competitor. It's going to steal some business. Then the following week, you got Him, which that one would be a direct competitor. But honestly, I wouldn't say I got bad vibes from Him, but I'm not getting interesting vibes. Like, I don't know how many people are really going to be interested. Like, and I have nothing against like Marlon Wayne or anything like that. I love the Wayne brothers, and I look forward to seeing him in an actual serious or like different role than just comedy. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know how many people are actually even interested in the film, to be honest. Of course, this is just me. I'm not a sports guy. Maybe and you know what? That might be the big issue. I'm not a sports guy. I don't care about the subject matter all that much. So, we'll see. Hamilton made their $10-ish million. Well, another $10 million. And basically just added on. Let's see what the Hamilton is. Hold on. Hamilton. Let's see what Hamilton's actual box office is. Alexander Hamilton. So let's see. What is now you had, oh wow, really? 2020? Wait, really? 2025 release? Does it only have 10 million to its name? I mean, don't get me wrong. It's free money for the studio, pretty much. So there was no real big issue of it making money. Let's see here. Then we got Weapons making their half of 10 million, so 5.3 million. 251 million. It's now starting to run on a little empty. Sorry, not run on a little empty. I was about to say run on fumes, but it's starting to run just a little bit empty. It's still got a little gas left in the tank. It's going to probably cross 260, maybe it's 270, but it's now really slowing its roll. Which, look, another success film for Warner Brothers and horror, made on 38 on an $18 million marketing budget. The film only actually had to make, 28. Only had to make like less than $90 million just to break even, and it did that nearly in the first opening week. So this film has literally made over $100 million worth of profit. So good for him. Fantastic. It's a really good film too. I enjoyed myself with it. And the Heights, I wasn't able to quite pick out everything that was going on there, but I could definitely piece together some of it. But that's what I think what a good mystery thriller horror should do. Gives you some of the answers, but you shouldn't be able to read everything verbatim. Freakier Friday, $3.8 million. $142 million. Yeah, it's getting rare anywhere I kind of speculate it would be. It might hit 150, but it's also now starting to run a little empty. It's not, I wouldn't say on fumes. You're not on fumes until you're making, say, a million or two a week. That's where it's fumes. But because of over 3 million, I won't call it fumes yet. But good for it. It also made its money back. And you know what? Disney needs some wins this year. Caught Stealing, $3.2 million. Hey, look, it's not going to do well. That's just the sad truth of it. I went to go see it. I didn't get around to it. I gave my reasons last week as to what I think happened here. And to reiterate, and I think to really drive the point home, it dropped, what, at least 50% this week? 59%. So probably, I mean, the marketing was fine, but it didn't look grabbing. I think that's the best way a lot of people I've heard kind of put it about why this didn't do so well. It didn't grab you. And I mean, it didn't look bad. And all the reviews are good, but it's just you didn't have any real big like actor draws to the franchise. So there's that. And so yeah, I mean, these things happen. Same with the Roses, which I loved. Actually, really looking back on it, the Roses was fantastic. And look, internationally, at least that gave it a bit of a boost. It's not going to make its money back. It's on a $40 million budget, if I remember correctly. I think so. Hold on, the Roses. The Roses. What was the Roses budget again? I want to say it was 40 million. Let's say the recent film production has a high production budget of $20 million. Okay, for a film, and it's important to note that the figure does not include mark. I'm sorry, AI. Okay, so everyone else is reporting 20 million. That's fine. AI overview. I think you need to understand what a high is, because unless you are able to write a sarcastic tone into what you're writing, no, that's not a high amount. So $20 million. Okay, hold for a minute here, because that means this film probably has 10 or 15 million in marketing. I'll be nice to say 10. That means it has to hit 45 million. Even if it's 15, that means 35. It still has to hit about what? Like 173 or just sorry, 173, 53-ish million dollars. I'm not saying you'll do it. It did just get a giant chunk from the international market, though. That's what, 22 million more? For a film like this, where it's currently at, that's a lot. I'm going to wait to see what the international for next week brings, if it brings anything else in. Because if it does bring more in, that's a question. It's a question we got to reevaluate. Fantastic Four: First Steps. It's still making over 2 million. I'm not saying it's running on fumes yet, but it is also running empty. 2.7 million worldwide, 511 million. So it's going to round out probably around the 520 range, roughly. Which, look, the film made its. I've still heard people say that this film failed, that this film didn't do well, this film bombed for Disney, the MCU is dead. So yeah, and these are people who clearly have an agenda against the MCU. I'm sorry, maybe that's not everyone, and maybe that's people who don't understand how numbers work or just how the business works, to be as nice as possible with it. But let's be very clear. Did it make anywhere near as much money as Phase 3 or 2 Marvel did? No. Is it, a vastly profitable film? No. But is it the highest grossing Marvel film of the year? Yes. Did it make over $500 million? Yes. And was it profitable? Oh, sorry. And did the critics and audience really like it? Yes. And was it profitable? Yes. I also heard someone say that Superman was not profitable. They're also idiots. Superman was also profitable. James Gunn flat out said that it was profitable, that it crossed the profit line. And if you do the math based on the numbers, that's the facts. And people say, well, it's James Gunn, he's going to lie. F you then, you're an idiot. You're a biased idiot, and I will say F you to your face. You're a fucking moron. You're biased, and you shouldn't go watch movies ever, because you are part of the problem. You're part of the toxic fandom, and that's a problem. And look, and people are going to say, oh, you're a shill from MCU. I'm sorry, what? Or you're just an MCU fanboy. It's like, no, I'm not. Brave New World sucked. Okay. Sucked might be a little harsh, but Brave New World wasn't the best. It was not very good. There's things I like in Brave New World. There's things I like in every MCU movie. But I do not stick my head in the sand when something is wrong. And look, there's one or two things I didn't like about Fantastic Four: First Steps. But that being said, none of it had to do with Pedro Pascal. For those people who are just on the Pedro train, I'm sorry to tell you, he's a working actor who's hot right now. It's his job to act and get jobs. He's a working actor. Please grow up about this. My God, if you don't like him as an actor, that's fine. But my God, what is people's problem lately? But yes, no. The numbers, roughly speaking, are the Fantastic Four First Steps was made around $200 million with about $100 in marketing. That means, roughly speaking, it had to hit 450 to break even. It did that. It did that very effectively. That means this film probably made, roughly speaking, maybe $40 million, $50 million, which is better than losing money. Absolutely, it is. So, Fantastic Four First Steps, good for it. It'll make like a little bit more money, but it's, as of next week, it'll be running on fumes. Bad Guys 2, also not running on fumes. And Quietly is about to actually become break even minimum and probably become profitable. This film very quietly has actually made a decent amount of money. It's just chugged along. Specifically, that international number really came through for it, and it's still coming through for it. But yeah, I like this film quite a bit. Again, I like the first one a little bit better. I do. But this film is still really, really, like, fun. And again, there's things I like more about this one than the last one. The climax is just visually great. I did like got some of the new characters. Like, it does, I think the animation style is about the same, but it's a little tweaked, or tuned up, I guess is the better way to put it. So, it is still it's still great to see, when movies succeed. And Universal's not having a bad year this year, so it's not that like they super needed it, but it's nice when the studios can get a win. Light of the World, Gibbous, sweet baby Jesus, follows the life of Gibbous. Follows Gibbous' life. I'm saying Gibbous because I want to. Life from ministry's beginning, from ministry beginnings through crucifixion and resurrection, as seen through the Apostle John's eyes. There you go. If anyone's asking me why this didn't do better, it's the same answer I give for anything that's faith-based. That's a very niche audience. And look, I'm not disparaging people of faith. I always have to do this every time. I always do this every time. But if you're a faith, that's great. Just don't belittle others for not having your faith, or try to make yourself look better by making others look worse. And again, that's my problems with things like PureFlix, so forth and so on. I do not hate on Angel Studios anywhere near as much. In fact, I saw Sketch recently by Angel Studios a few weeks back. I liked Sketch. Is that a perfect movie? Oh God, no. It does have problems, yeah, but those problems don't come from any messaging. Those problems come from a filmmaking perspective. I actually kind of liked it quite a bit. So I have much less of a problem with Angel Studios because they do some things other than faith-based stuff, and they're nowhere. And I've yet to see anything from them. The little I've seen from them, and stuff I know about them, that has like really been like antagonistic for people who aren't of that faith. So I can get behind someone like Angel Studios. Absolutely, I can. And some other things look, stuff like this, I have no problem with. I'm not going to go see it, but I have no problem with it. And look, not only is it a faith-based film, to be fair, it's also an animated film. In fact, that looks... Hold on. Light of the World. Let me get a poster of that real quick, because that poster... I remember seeing the trailer, I think, in one of the showings I went to. But let me see here. Light of the World movie. Let me get that poster real quick here. Is anyone getting Aladdin mixed with Prince of Egypt vibes here? I'm sorry. Let me get that poster up just real quick here. Let me see how big I can make that poster. Come on. Oh, let's go to images. Hold on. Google images. There we go. I'm not lying. I'm not wrong in thinking that looks like a discount Aladdin. I'm not mocking Faith. I'm just talking about the animation style right now. That this looks like a discount Aladdin. I'm not wrong in thinking that, right? But with designs from Prince of Egypt to some degree, like, and then let's go to that. Yeah, that looks almost straight out of Prince of Egypt, but with like Hercules too? I'm not dissing on it. I'm just putting out observations. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Let's see here now. Superman. Okay, Superman, which is now I believe on digital. Superman is now running on gas or on fumes. It made another 1.4 million this week, 614 million. It's pretty done. It might luck out and hit 620, but again, it's profitable at this point. The critics liked it. The audience liked it. James Gunn did what he had to do. So the next film, Supergirl, may very well do better than Superman because you had Superman to build up or build a foundation on. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with that. So, and because we got to get Jason Momoa Lobo in there too, which is going to be awesome. The main man, like that man, Jason Momoa. That's one of those characters that an actor was born to play, and that actor is Jason Momoa. Sorry, Superman made just around $1 million, so it is also running on a D. Jaws and re-release still made $950,000. Hey, and look, in a re-release it made $14.3 million. That's impressive. Most re-releases can't say they do that. Hell, the highest opening re-release. Let me look at. I think was Avatar because that's what helped get it over Endgame and reclaim its title for highest opening, or highest grossing movie of all time. Then we got the movie Splitsville, which I think I've seen something for. When Ashley asks for a divorce, a good-natured Carrie runs into his friend Julie and Paul for support. Their secret happiness is open marriage that, until Carrie crosses the line, throws all their relationships into chaos. Okay, I think I've heard the title. I don't know anything about the movie. The threesome I heard was a little disappointing. Naked Gun made just over $500,000 this week. $99 million. Oh man, I feel bad. Naked Gun was great. It was freaking hilarious. So I feel bad that like a movie like it doesn't either, because again I don't know what the marketing budget is on the Naked Gun. The actual like production budget is like around 45,000, rough 45,000. They wish 45 million roughly, or like 48 million, one of the two. I think it was like 45. And I speculate about 30 million in marketing. It could be less though. It could be less. If I lowball it at like say 20 million, which that sounds more reasonable. That sounds the most reasonable low number I can give. That would mean I'd put it at 65. Well, that would mean that the film still has to make, roughly speaking, in the ballpark of about. It would be just breaking even now. That's what it would be doing. But unfortunately, yeah, a lot of these movies lost a lot of screens because of obviously Conjuring coming out, and it's unfortunate. I mean, don't get me wrong, it didn't. If it lost money, it was not a large amount of money, which is good. And it's still going to make a little bit here or there. Jurassic World Rebirth also made just over $500,000. Man, these are big drops. These are suddenly taken. $860 million. It's done. It's got another $1 million left in it. Then you got F1, which again made about $500,000. It's got $619 million. It just keeps kind of bumping along a little bit, which I like. Nobody 2. This one I feel so bad about. So it made $37 million out against a $25 million budget. It just didn't. It wasn't as good as the first one. Look, I like the film, I do, but it's not as good as the first one. And some of the flaws are kind of noticeable in the film. It is kind of it's like if you took the formula of the first one and stuck it on a family vacation plot, basically. Honey Don't also didn't really do all that well at the box office. And I liked Honey Don't. I liked it far better than Runaway Dolls, I'll give you that. Or Driveway Dolls. But, and then Lilo and Stitch, even though it got re-released, it lost 2,000 screens. So, hey, they were able to give it an extra $1 million on top. Which, hold on, let me just check the worldwide real quick here. Did it cross that extra amount that it needed to get to the next spot? Not worldwide, I need all time. Let's find out. This will be our last thing to check for the day, because it's a pretty, everything else is just literally fumes at this point for profit. Just chugging along. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see here. It stands as the currently. Hey, it did! It crossed to the 50th highest grossing film of all time spot. Good for it. Yeah, good for it. And now it's not making anything else. It doesn't have another 11 million left in the tank to get to those next two spots. But it doesn't need it. It did just fine. And then everything else is just, just protocol, or not protocol, but just, again, fumes together, sketch. Don't really need to go over them that much. Ilio still around. Let me put it this way, though. At 93 grand, I wish the movie that I worked on, the one movie I ever worked on, and I did work on a movie once, it was made on like $5 grand. It was a buddy of mine who would ask for help, and we needed to make $5 grand to make basically the budget back, and then we got paid. Some people got paid very, very small amounts because it was that low of a budget film. But my payment and Mark's payment, because he helped work on that, we split a 1.5% of the film's actual profits, because for what we did, and I was doing multiple parts. The film didn't make enough money to do that. It didn't. But at 93 grand, that means I would have been making, it wouldn't have been a lot, mind you, but I would have been making about a $1,500 check, which I would have split with Mark, obviously, but still. So I'd be making about $750. That would have been something. And then if I just hypothetically like go into those dream scenarios where, hey, we made $500,000, well, that means I would have made about $7,500 grand, $7,500. And that would have been nice. But these things don't happen. It's whatever. I honestly wasn't expecting to anyway. It was just nice to have the experience. So yeah, overall, it was just a surprisingly good week at the box office. September is not a doldrum month, but if you look at the, let's go to this one all time real quick. Weekend charts, weekend records. If you go to like say September's all time, you'll see a big difference, big disparity between the top 4 now and then the bottom 6. The top 4, you got 123 and 111 million for Beetlejuice and It Chapter 91, Conjuring Last Rise Now 83.75. Great, but then the bottom half, you dip from 75 to 53, 48. Hell, in the 10th highest grossing September opening of all time is a $39 million opening film, which, based on some of the films coming out this month, it's possible we can knock that thing out there. And 2 Hotel Transylvania films are holding the 8 and 7 spot. So it's one of those things where, September looks like it's Warner Brothers kind of month, because let's see here, we got The Nun, and then 3 Warner Brothers films in the number 4 spot. So Warner Brothers kind of owns them. I've never even thought of to look into that. Which studios kind of own their respective months? Let's see, what's our time right now? Oh, 27. Yeah, we can spend like a few minutes just to look over real quick. Okay, so top 10 for January. Let's see, Warner Brothers, Sony, Universal, 20th Century, Universal 2, Paramount, Universal 3, 20th Century, and Universal. Universal wins January by 1. Technically speaking, Disney holds the number 2 spot because they own Fox now. February, that one, that's tough. Because definitely, Disney, 20th Century, which is owned by Disney, Universal, New Market, really, Passion of the Christ, Warner Brothers, Paramount, Disney owns February. Okay, what about March? March, I'm going to guess, is going to be Warner Brothers? Okay, hold on. Beauty and the Beast, Disney, okay. Warner Brothers, yep. Captain Marvel, Disney, all right. Lionsgate, Warner Brothers, they're tied. Walt Disney, okay, Disney's got the lead. Disney, because they got 20th Century Fox, but then Warner Brothers, and then Walt Disney. Walt Disney wins it by 1. By 1, Walt Disney wins that one. And if I take out the 20th Century, they're tied with Warner Brothers. April, okay, that one might be Disney by a landslide. If we're just talking about the amount of films. We got Disney, Minecraft, Warner Brothers, 2 Universals, another Disney. So tied with Universal right now. 4 Disney, 5 Universal. Okay, Universal and Disney are tied when it comes to April. I guarantee you Disney wins May because of the amount of just sheer Marvel films that opened up in May. Disney. Oh, one Sony. Disney. Paramount. Okay, okay. To be fair, that's the distributor, but Iron Man 2 was still Disney. But Paramount still got that. So yeah, Disney. You're not kicking Disney out of May almost ever. What about June? June also has a couple Marvel films, if I'm not mistaken. UK Universal, Incredibles, Walt Disney, Universal's ahead. Oh, Disney claims the lead there. Columbia, which is Sony. Then Warner Brothers, Disney, because of the animated. That's right. June's usually their big animated month. Okay, what about July? Let's see here. July. Okay. Disney. Warner Brothers won 4-2. Okay, 4-3. They're tied now. Warner Brothers took the lead, and then they tied again. So Warner Brothers and Disney are tied in July. No, wow. What about August? Okay, this one I'm curious about. Warner Brothers, Disney, Universal, New Line, Paramount, 2 Universals, 2 Disneys, 3 Universals. We count 20th Century as Disney, 3 Disneys, and 2 Paramounts. So it's tied between Universal and Disney. Now let's take a pattern here. Sony and Universal just can't hang with the big boys in the same general vicinity. This one I feel like might be Sony or Universal though. Warner Brothers has 3. 20th Century, that's far. Okay, 20th Century, no, not Disney this time around. Warner Brothers 3. Universal. Sony has 2 though. I give them credit, but it looks like Warner Brothers just barely ekes out October. Rounding it out, November and December. That's tough. Hold on, because Lionsgate owns the Twilight Saga. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't they own Hunger Games too? Yeah, they did. Hold on. Walt Disney's got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Lionsgate though. 1, 2, 3. I want to say they had 1 more. Summit Entertainment. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I have 1, 2, 3. I think it's Lionsgate, because even though that's Summit Entertainment for both of them, they're owned by Lionsgate. This is just the distributor, mind you, not the people who own it. So yeah, I have to assume it's actually Lionsgate that actually wins that. And then finally in December, just around, and again, this is all just for fun at this point. There's not much else for me to say except give my predictions. Sony, that's fair, because that's not Disney. That is Sony. Spider-Man No Way Home is a Sony picture. And there's no other Sony pictures here. So Walt Disney, 20th Century Fox, you want to count that as Disney, but it wasn't at the time, but still whatever. So they got 5 technically. But sorry, 4. No, 5. Actually, no, definitely 20th Century Studio, because that is Disney. So yeah, no, Disney dominates December right now. Warner Bros. Has got a couple big ones, but nothing huge. Anyway, the last thing to talk about is what I think next week will look like. I do still think The Conjuring Last Rites will be number 1. The Long Walk is the big one this week. That will be number 2. No doubt about that. Downton Abbey, though, is a very beloved franchise, so I do think Downton Abbey is number 3. Weapons and Freakier Friday. That'll be my prediction. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.